Hi guys, my name is Jessica Seat, and my topic is arming teachers with guns, and I will be showing you the pro side to this topic. So first of all, the idea of arming teachers. For a lot of people, this is the idea of loosening state restrictions to allow concealed carry permit holders to bring guns into school. And this is not entirely a new idea. It is an idea that is often circulated after school attacks occur. And the most recent school shooting is the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And this shooting occurred on Valentine's Day, February 14th of 2018. So on this slide, I've included a list of school shootings in the U.S. Since Columbine High School in 1999 that have 5 or more casualties. I had a comprehensive list of all of them, but it was too many to put on here, so I limited it to 5 or more casualties. I also took note of some of the most recognizable school shootings because of media. So the first is the Columbine High School shooting of 1999. The second is the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting of 2012. And the third is the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting of 2018 this year. And in the background of this slide, I included a map of all of the school shootings in the U.S. that have occurred since Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012. So in the matter of 6 years, all of the gray dots stand for one school shooting since 2012. Who is pro arming teachers? So in the most recent school shooting in Parkland, Florida, the sheriff investigating that attack has been seen quoted saying, "Teachers should have access to guns as a last line of defense in a school shooting." And then another individual that I quoted is President Donald Trump. He was interviewed with CNN, and he was accompanied by the survivors and family members of the Parkland, Florida shooting and all of the shootings in the last decade. And so he said, let's say that an attack lasts on average of about 3 minutes, and it takes 5 to 8 minutes for police responders to come in. The attack is already over, the damage is already done. If there was a teacher with adept skills at using a firearm and is there, the attack would be over very quickly. So the last individual that I quoted for this is Casey Hansen. She's the Salt Lake City, Utah teacher, and she said that the idea to arm herself in school began with the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut. And this is where 20 children and 6 adults died. It just really hit home that these teachers, all they could do was pile those kids into a corner and stand in front of them and hope for the best. Hansen is someone who carries a concealed handgun as she teaches special education students. And she goes on saying, "I'm not here to tell all teachers that they have to carry a gun, but for her personally, she feels that it was more of a solution than just hiding in a corner and waiting." And for me personally, I just want to put a little bit of my input in here. I'm an art education major, and I'm a senior. I will be actively teaching in about a year. And so this is a topic that I've had to think about a lot recently. My role in defending my students and what I could possibly do in an active shooter scenario. So I've been paying a lot of attention to what other teachers have been saying and how they feel about the subject and possible solutions for it. So why is arming teachers a good idea? Mark Zelinskas, an Indiana area high school teacher who attended firearms training sessions in Ohio, where armed teachers are allowed, derided the current training that emphasizes locking down, hiding, escaping, and using improvised weapons to distract or delay a shooter. The Ohio course, he said, required participating teachers to get better scores on firing range than police officers. So they have to go through the same training as a police officer would in order, to get certified, and they have to score higher than these police officers. And he goes on, quoting, "I'm not just going to sit and hide and accept waiting and seeing kids get shot or listening to kids die." President Trump said, "On the topic of concealed carry, it only works if you have people who are very adept at using firearms. It would be teachers and coaches who would go for special training, and then we would no longer have a gun-free zone. A gun-free zone to a maniac," and in this case he's referring to active shooters, "because they are all cowards, means let's go in and attack because bullets aren't coming back at us." So our own president is very pro-gun and arming teachers to solve the problem of school shootings. So I believe it is time for change. Schools are considered gun-free zones, and a lot of them have the symbol that I've included on the top right-hand corner, and stating that guns are not permitted on the premises of schools. And in some cases, this can make schools an easy target and vulnerable to attacks. A potential assailant could see this sign and think, well, it would be really easy to come in here and to attack these people because no one has good enough means to stop me. And so according to Everytown for Gun Safety, a gun control advocacy group, states that 15 states currently allow concealed carry of some sort in schools, and in this year, 2018, 24 states considered similar policies. So, why not wait for trained police to arrive? In some cases, police will not enter the school building if there is an active shooter. A Broward County deputy was on scene at the South Florida high school shooting, but never went into the building or confronted the shooter. And this was reported by officials covering this attack. And the reasoning behind this deputy not going into the school was because there was an assault weapon used, and he was outpowered because most police officers only have their state-issued firearm, which is usually just a handgun, some sort of pistol, and so it would be a assault rifle against a small handgun, and that could have made things worse. And another reason is some rural communities do not have local police stations. It can take police upwards of 10 or more minutes to arrive. And on average, school shootings last 3 to 5 minutes. Me personally, I grew up in a really small community. There was about 500 to 600 people living in this community, and if there was a school shooting, it would take about 10 to 15 minutes for police to arrive. So this is a very scary reality for a lot of rural communities who do not have local police stations. So there's a lot of debate on what solutions there are for these rural communities. So some thoughts and solutions for this matter. One is the idea to give teachers the option to be armed. This does not go to say that teachers have to have a concealed carry. They would have the option to do so. They would have to go through extensive training, which I mentioned before. They would go through the same training as a police officer would, and they would have to score even higher than those police cadets would on the firing range. There would, of course, be extensive background checks, just like there is for anyone to get a concealed carry. And they should also have to attend scenario training, where they do live active shooter training, and they go through all of these different scenarios to be able to properly use their weapons if something does happen in real life. Another solution would be having a sign put up stating that there are armed teachers, and having the sign outside of the building. So one example of that is a Claude, Texas school, and this is their actual sign. It says, "Attention, please be aware that the staff at Claude ISD is armed and may use whatever force necessary to protect our students." The idea behind using that sign is to deter people from just entering the school building thinking that there is no one armed and no one to stop the shooter. Another thing that goes with that would be to not disclose who's armed to anyone. Don't disclose it to students or other staff members. Whoever needs to know would know, but not disclosing that information would make sure that those teachers who are concealed carry are not easy targets for when shooters do come in. Another solution idea is to have checkpoints to enter the school. Have visitors enter in a main office, and making sure that students cannot let people in on side doors. A lot of schools have many entry points, and limiting visitor entry to just the main office will help regulate who's coming in and when they're coming in, and when they're leaving as well. And another idea is metal detectors and x-ray machines for backpacks and other personal belongings. There would be a sense of security for everyone, because every single person who enters the building has been through these checkpoints and these metal detectors and x-ray machines. All backpacks, purses, briefcases, every single thing would go through a metal detector and an x-ray machine. And this allows for students and all of the staff to feel a sense of security, because there's no chance of there being any sort of weapon, guns or knives or anything. So that would possibly help as well. So that is the ending of my slideshow. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your break.